Hmm. Okay. Well, since I have you, this is going to be a channel that we're devoting to people who want to write. So if you're looking for a time and a place to write, this will be that time. Usually, Dan will be joining me. I hopefully he can find. Let me just text Dan really quick so that he can come back on. But what we're going to do is from 8 to 9 every night. There's going to be a place for writers to come and write. Um, it's a time that you can take out of your day to know that from 8 to 9, I will sit down. I'll go to Mike's channel. I'll watch his videos when he figures out how OBS works, and that'll be my time that I write. Um, I want to get in the way. So that's the idea. Hopefully, we're just going to keep doing this every night from 8 to 9, and be that sort of beacon of light for a little while until people come and join us. But again, my name is Mike Rogers. My partner's name is Dan Gonzalez. We run Vision Mage Entertainment, and we're looking for writers. We're going to be running a screenwriting course called Screenwriting for Creatives. And in that course, I'm going to be teaching you basically one of the worst things that can happen to a creative is, especially a creative, somebody who is an artist, the worst thing that can happen to somebody who's an artist is they are overwhelmed with information. And they can't process that information, and then their brains just uh, sort of like short circuit. So I was in that position where I quit my job and I devoted 100% of my time to writing screenplays and trying to become a professional writer. And what I found, well, what I did was every day I woke up and it was my job to become a professional writer. So every day I woke up and I sat at my computer and I wrote and I wrote and I pushed myself and I watched screenplay videos after screenplay video after screenplay video. And I overloaded myself with information, and it didn't do me any good. Any creativity that I had was sort of washed out by the structure of the screenplay. Also, by all the rules that people were giving me. There were so many rules that people were telling me on how things had to be done that I lost all the creativity that I had in my screenplay. There was no creative thought in my screenplay. There was nothing there. It was just um, structure. And I think if you follow too much structure, you're going to lose everything that uh, got you into screenwriting in the first place. Got you into it's a creative art. It's like painting. Writing is a lot of like painting. Not really, but kind of. And you need to express yourself creatively. You need to be able to use that tool to express yourself creatively. And if somebody's constantly giving you measures that you have to meet up to, then you're going to have a lot of trouble expressing yourself. And then people get frustrated and they stop. So we're not going to be in the course that we're going to be doing um, screenwriting for creatives. We're not going to be doing a lot of screenwriting rules. We're not going to be concentrating on a lot of theory. We're basically going to, this is the structure that screenplays work in. Let's tell your story. Maybe let's tell your story and then put it into the structure that the screenplay um, forces you to put it into. The structure that the screenplay is. This screenplay is a technical document. It's not that difficult to crack. There he is. Uh, but it is a technical document, and for a creative, technical documents can be extremely difficult. And as a creative myself, I've dealt with it. I've worked within those parameters, and I think everybody can work with those parameters. And honestly, when you start working in those parameters and you start understanding how screenplays work, it's easier. It's easier than writing a, you know, your average screenplay is 75 to 100 pages long. So figure 90 pages is the average. Your average novel is um, 300 pages long, 250 to 300 pages long. You're condensing everything into short snippets. You're basically giving what you're providing is a working document for a filmmaker to make a movie on, and that's why it's a technical document. You're providing somebody something that they're really going to turn around and say, okay, now do all the technical things that need to be done to this screenplay for it to become a movie. Um, and that's all the technical stuff that's going to happen on the other end. You don't need to think about that. What you need to think about is your story. One of the most successful screenplays that I saw when I was going through this whole process was a horror movie that had an extremely simple premise, had limited characters, was in a very small setting, and that movie made it. That was the screen. That movie, that screenplay made it. That screenplay is still getting made into a movie. I don't know if it's been released yet, but the one that I saw that made it was a very simple idea horror movie that took place in one house on one night with five characters, and that was it. And that movie got made. Of all the creative ideas that I've seen, all the screenplays that I've seen people write, the only one that I've ever seen get turned into a movie was an extremely simple horror movie idea about five people in a house playing a game. And if I gave you the name of the game, then I give away the screenplay, and I don't want to do that. But a simple game that people always play, and then it turned into a horror movie, and it was so simple that people were able to, yep, no, I know the concept that you're throwing at me. It's five people in a house, one loaded, so it got made very easily. Um, honestly, I wouldn't even want you to think about that. I wouldn't even want you to think about the technicalities of that. I just want you to express yourself, um, express your creativity, um, so that you're not hampered by the technical document that screenplays are. But yeah, that's it. So I could ramble on forever. Obviously, I've already rambled on for about 10 minutes. Um, if I could get OBS to work, I would be showing you videos right now. This time right now is really going to be not me talking, but either videos on writing that I've kind of curated for you to watch um, and write to. So let's just see one more time if we can get OBS to work. So we're streaming right now on OBS, but we're not connected to YouTube. I'm frozen on OBS. Yeah, because I'm not using it. So let me close that. Dan's even abandoned me. It's just me. But he understands. He knows what we're doing. Dan and I decided to start a entertainment company, a production company. We've been friends for about, gosh, I want to say 15 years now, but probably actually more like 10. And we see an opportunity, especially now in the market, for creatives to get their stories heard and made. There's been a drought in the creativity department for about 5 years now. And I think people are starting to turn around. Maybe not people like Disney, but I think some companies are starting to turn to pure entertainment. What's that, honey? I heard what you heard. We had an earthquake today in on the East Coast, which is just totally unheard of. So there was an earthquake in New York that apparently we felt in Rhode Island. So my wife is very sensitive to the sounds of things right now. I missed it, but I paint for a living, and I was in a very large house with a big, very Victorian big house that I did not feel move at all. Um, but this is an older house. This one should, but yeah. So I am going to continue to try to get OBS to work and do some little trials on that. And if it does get to work, I might continue to live stream this evening. But this was more of a test and a trial, and hopefully we get some people to watch this. Um, I'll make sure that we tag everything um, up so that we get some writers to watch these videos. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't want to just ramble on for an hour. What I'm going to do is end this, see if we can get OBS to work. If we can get OBS to work, then I will continue to live stream and show some videos and see if people just find us organically on the YouTube. But let me log off, see if I can get the OBS working, and I will talk to you soon. So we're going to end stream and